What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. Now, what is the subject of our today's video? I'm going to be speaking about how to access the higher self in a way that I bet you've never heard before. I'm going to be teaching you and just giving you some awareness on the higher self in general, but how to access it, how to really get in touch with it, how to better understand it so that you know what you're connecting with. I think a lot of people don't know that. They don't even know what the higher self really is. They hear the concept, they kind of get the concept, but they don't understand the actual feeling. They don't understand the actual essence of what it means to be embodying your higher self and let it, manifest the way it needs to. So if this is something that intrigues you, and if you feel like you've been drawn to this content for a reason, then you simply have one thing to do. First, hit the thumbs up button if you're interested, and definitely make sure you're subscribed, because why would you not do that? And then stay tuned. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so let's go into it. So let me first start with introducing myself, just in case you don't know who I am. My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am fully initiated in the entirety of the Kabbalistic tree. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck, and I'm also studied when it comes to planetary energies in direct association with astrology. Now, with that being said, let's go into the subject. So we're talking about how to access the higher self. This is going to be a subject that a lot of people want to know about, and I'm about to break it down in such a valuable way that for a lot of you, it's going to speak directly to your higher self. It's going to speak directly to that unconscious mind of yours and integrate into every cell of your body. So let's go into it. So let's first start with making sure that we understand what the higher self is. So the higher self is something that every single person has. Every single person has a higher self. There's not a single person that does not have one. And in the more so metaphysical component, this is like, you could think of it like a future version of ourself that has made all the right decisions. And when I say right, I don't mean perfect. What I mean is like, it's made all the decisions it needed to make to get to that full form, to get to that state of wholeness, a state of very source being. So this is like the version of yourself that's not addicted, the version of yourself that's not cycling through relationships that don't serve you, the version of yourself that understands how to intuitively eat foods and be with your foods when you're eating so that you can integrate them into your energy fields. It's the part of yourself that does things on a daily basis that shows self-love rather than maybe playing a video game and distracting yourself for 6 hours every single day, maybe going for a walk in nature, maybe taking a trip to the beach, maybe not hanging out with a group of people that talk about a lot of drama, and just maybe going to the gym, doing something different, little acts of self-love. So once again, your higher self is that version that is always showing its self-love. It's that version of you that exists in the future, way far ahead in the future, millions of years in the future. That is still you though, but it's existing far ahead into that future space. And once again, when we leave the essence of time, because on this planet Earth, we're dealing with the essence of time, when we leave that confine, or when we leave that matrix, if you will, past, present, and future is all at the same time. So it's in that space where you actually reconnect with your higher self when you are outside of this matrix. But as long as you're incarnate on this planet in a physical body, your higher self can be perceived in the future. When you leave the body and you leave this matrix, you can embody your higher self again, okay? But once again, everyone has a higher self. That's the metaphysical component. Now, the other properties that the higher self plays is through the unconscious realm. So the parts of our body that regulate themselves, like the way your heart beats, the way your lungs pump, the way the blood moves through your veins, the way your hormones are activated, the way your nervous system is functioning, the way your immune system is operating. These are all aspects of our body in which we are not in conscious control of. So you're not telling yourself to breathe. You're not telling your heart to pump. You're not telling the blood to move through your arms. It's already doing these things because your body is intelligent. And that level of intelligence that is in the body is governed by your own higher self. Okay? So this is that version of yourself that is extremely source-based, extremely powerful, and is generally always trying to make sure you're moving in the right direction. So, as I said, the higher self and the way that it moves through the body and the way that it can move into our consciousness first starts within that unconscious space. It starts within a space of our being that at first we are unaware of. So, for example, it's like we're born, we're incarnate on this planet as young babies. We don't remember this. We don't remember this. We don't remember these principles. We don't remember these truths. No one's sitting there really telling you this. You know, when you're born, hey, you know, as you grow up, you're going to start realizing you have a higher self, and you're going to realize that you incarnated for a specific purpose. Part of this process is to interact with the unconscious and remember, is to relearn. You could say reestablishing the relationship with the higher self, or developing the relationship with the higher self, integrating the higher self. And there's a lot of people on our planet today, most of the humans on our planet are separated from their higher self. It does not mean they don't have one. It means they're actively choosing to not integrate with their higher self. Therefore, their higher self has less of an ability to influence their behaviors and influence their life circumstances. Think about it like this. You're playing a video game, and the character that you're playing, let's say you're playing let's say you're playing Call of Duty, right? And you know it's like a first-person shooter. You're in control of a character. You have your own character that you created. And you're playing this character, okay? On the other side, you're the one with the remote control. You're watching the screen. You're playing the character, yet the character's in the game. Now imagine if there was like a glitch and your character just started like doing things on its own. Like something happened within your circuit board of the game console, and your character just literally starts doing its own thing. It starts crouching when you're not clicking the crouch button. It starts kind of just moving forward when you're trying to stand still. And then next thing you know, your character gets shot and killed. You know, Call of Duty. You get shot and killed. And then you're like, wow, that's so unfortunate. Like, I wasn't trying to crouch, or I wasn't trying to run out into the open field and get shot. You know, the controller malfunctioned, or the console malfunctioned. So the higher self, when in alignment, is the character in the game, the console, and the controller working authentically. Therefore, you're playing your character. And the way that you're playing your character is in the character's best interest. Most of the times you don't get into, you know, a video game like Call of Duty with an intention of losing. Your intention is to win, is to get the most, you know, the highest score. So think of it like this in the connection to your higher self. Your higher self is observing you as you're in this game of life. And whenever you let your mind get the best of you, whenever you start over-analyzing and overthinking rather than feeling your emotions and listening to the internal compass, that is like the same thing as your controller or your console malfunctioning. And then your character does something that you don't want it to do. So your higher self is observing you make your own free will decisions while trying to remind you that it's actually very practical and very simple to be in touch with your highest potential and to be influenced by your higher self. But due to the nature of the society that we live in this, just the world we live in, the earth, we are programmed very intentionally to overthink things, to think and worship the mind. Modern day science is literally worship of logic, worship of analytics, worship of data, it's worship of the mind. So because of this, we are the ones that are responsible for malfunctioning our controllers or malfunctioning our consoles, and running out into an open field when really intuitively we knew that that was not a good idea. But we allowed ourselves mentally to hold on to a concept or to a story that ends up working against us. So in the scope of the higher self is always trying to work out in your best interest, always trying to serve you, always trying to make sure things are in alignment with what it is that you're here to do, truly. And the more you can get out of your own way, I know you've probably heard that saying before, the more you can get out of your own way. I know when I used to hear that saying, I used to get so frustrated because I used to be like, what does that mean? Get out of your own way. Like, why would I be in my own way? I don't want to be in my own way. But it's really profound because remember, unconsciously, just like your heart is beating, just like your lungs are pumping, these things are just happening already. So imagine if you spend every single day trying to think your heart to pump and trying to think your lungs to contract. How stressed out and how mentally drained would you be if you spent every single day for the rest of your life trying to think these things in place when they were already happening? You're probably going to cause problems to these areas of your body the more you try to think them rather than just letting them do what they naturally do. So this is sort of like how the higher self functions. All we need to really do is recognize we are an aspect of the source and that our higher self has a full ability to move through us. See, it is a big step to even realize you have a higher self. So if you've gotten that far and you're absorbing that information, that's a big deal. Because yes, in a way, knowledge does equal a lot of power. And to have that awareness, it can actually help you get yourself into this process that I'm about to explain. But the key is to just recognize you are the source and you have an internal intuition that is the compass that guides you where you're supposed to be. That intuition is the voice of your soul. It's the voice of your higher self. Most oftentimes, there's not much logic and there's not much rationale behind your higher self. It will tell you to do things that are beyond your capability of understanding. It will tell you to do and say and take steps in certain directions that are beyond A plus B equals C. This is another reason why most people have a hard time listening to their intuition or listening to their higher self. Because they hear that message deep down and they're like, am I crazy? Do I need to see a therapist for this? No, that can't be true. Oh no, that's not right. No, I need to suppress that. I need to bury that deeper. When really it's actually a divine message and it's telling you to do something that is based on a higher science that you would never even comprehend. It's based on a logic that you would never even understand because we're talking about cosmic science, okay? Metaphysical science, which is stuff that we can't even begin to try to wrap our minds fully around. We can touch the surface, but it goes so much deeper. So with that being said, yes, the higher self is just always naturally trying to possess the body. It's trying to move through the body. And all we have to do is get out of our own way and allow our own higher self to do this. Allow ourself, the most intelligent side of ourself, allow that supreme consciousness to take over. And the way we do this is through the emotional body. I know a lot of you have heard me talk about this, and I'm talking about it even more so now because I'm learning the power of the emotional body. I've always known the power of the emotional body. This is why I'm always talking about sitting in silence, making sure you're feeling your emotions to process them. But really, this is the key to some of the most profound levels of spiritual self-development, if not the most profound levels of spiritual transformation. Even though it sounds so simple, it is the most powerful thing that you can do outside of any other type of ritual that you would ever read in a book, is recognizing your emotional body is the access point. It is the gateway to your higher self completely manifesting in you, in your body, in your physical vessel. And it starts with feeling the emotions that you're feeling on a daily basis. Because remember, when we're breaking the word emotion down, we are now dealing with energy in motion. So think about it like this. Your higher self is constantly in emotion. It is an energy in motion, and it will constantly trigger specific emotions in your life experience to get you in the right space or to put you in the right positions. Now, if we're using our mind to override our emotions by saying, oh, I'm stronger than that, or I don't cry. Oh no, I'm not gonna feel sad because I'm tough. I'm not gonna do this because my dad says, you know, I saw my dad when he was sad and he just went to the gym and he was tough. He overrode it, so that's what I'm gonna do now, okay? Oh, or I saw my mom, she started using substances, or she started smoking cigarettes when she went through a hard time, so that's what I'll do. I'm not gonna feel, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna sit and just be with this pain. I'm going to resort to smoking a cigarette because that's what I know, and that's what I saw my mom do, so I'm gonna go do that right now. So as I'm saying, we're living in a time where we're always trying to override our emotions with something mentally. And this is an unconscious process. So most of the times this is happening, it's actually unconscious to you. So if you actually knew that this was damaging, and you knew that this was not serving you, and you knew that this was actually holding you back from literally achieving the life that you want to live, then you probably would try working on it. You would probably to some extent try to figure out, why am I doing this? But that's the thing. It's unconscious for most people, so they don't even know why they're smoking their cigarettes. They don't even know why, when something really frustrates them, the first thing they jump to is getting even more angry rather than feeling their emotion. So they're meeting the feeling of anger with even more aggression, rather than just saying, okay, I can feel this anger and I can sit with it and I can process it out. I can just sit with it. What does the anger have to show me? What does it have to teach me? What do I have to feel? Like, that's it. I don't even need to know anything about it. I just need to feel it. So it's through these energies in motion that we are gaining access to our own higher self, because the higher self is that intelligent part of our being that already knows what it needs to do in your life experience in the most divinely intelligent way. And once again, all we have to do is step out of our own way, step out of what our mind is trying to throw in between that. Just let the higher self come through by feeling the emotions that it's radiating down to the body. And when you start letting that happen and you start living your life by the principles of feminine energy, which is being more receptive, listening to understand, which is letting go more, recognizing that there really is no such thing as attachment in this universe. There can be periods of brief attachment where you hold on to things only to be taught that you're supposed to let it go. The more you go through that cycle or that lesson, the more you realize I can live my life in a state of letting go. I don't need to attach to really a lot of things. I don't need to attach. I can enjoy, I can embrace, I can feel, but I don't need to attach to it. I don't need it forever to make me feel the same feeling. And then the other principle, once again, of the feminine energy is feeling the emotions. Energy's in motion. And when you're living in this way, you are now creating a space for your higher self to access your unconscious mind, where your unconscious is now working for you rather than against you. So as I said, for a lot of you, it may feel like on a deep level, you're fighting against the universe, or you may feel like you're fighting upstream. You're fighting a battle that can never be won. I want to know how many of you have experienced that before or are currently feeling that way. It's like you're trying to manifest certain things in your life, and the more you're trying, one, the longer it's taking to actually happen, and the more resistance you're getting. You feel like everything you're doing is not happening the way you want it to. Matter of fact, the more you're trying to manifest this thing, the more the opposite is happening. If this is you right now, this shows that you're having a hard time embracing or letting your higher self come through you. And it's because you're lacking the understanding of your emotional body, and you're not practicing feeling. What you're probably doing is you're doing a lot of thinking, you're doing a lot of analyzing, and you're obtaining a lot of knowledge, but without feeling as the foundation, there's nowhere for that knowledge to go. It's just an information overload. And for all that you know, you may be in certain relationships or certain attachments, or you may have certain relationships to certain things that are completely out of alignment with where it is that your higher self is actually trying to have you go. So with what it is that you're trying to manifest with your attachments, as you're holding on to them, it is completely unable to happen. In other words, your higher self is not letting it happen. It's not letting you create what you think you want because you're still attached. So when you start to let go, when you start to feel, and when you start to listen to understand more, now your higher self is starting to possess your body. It's starting to move through you to the point where you get, after having done this long enough and having experimented and having practice with this state of being that I'm describing, you can actually almost, there comes a point where you almost like observe yourself from a third point of view, from like a third party viewpoint. And you can observe this energy that's in you, which is your higher self, doing things that are completely supernatural. So in my own life, this happens all the time. And I'm not perfect. You know, the reason why I'm explaining what I'm explaining now is because I've learned these lessons the hard way, probably way harder than most of you listening. That's why I'm in a position of teaching this concept right now, and you're in the position of being the student. So I've learned this lesson in some of the hardest ways that you can learn this lesson. And because I've learned from the lesson, I've also received the power from it because I've integrated it emotionally. So I do get to a space in my life where when I am in alignment with my higher self, when I'm also in alignment with the universe, look, we got a bird right there. Do you want to say something? Thank you. The birds are singing. Look at that. The bird's listening to me speak. This is what it means to be in alignment with the universe, and supernatural things happen, like nature starts to work for you, like the birds come to listen to me make these videos. These birds aren't always here. I come here all the time. They're not always here. They literally come around when I'm making the videos. Supernatural things start to happen. Random events that you could never rationally set up will set themselves up unconsciously, automatically, because you're tapped into that higher self within. You're stepping into that super conscious power, stepping into that unconscious power that we all have inside of ourselves. This is why when it comes to the concept of the abyss within the occult, the abyss is the association with the unconscious. So there's a certain form of initiation which is called crossing the abyss. And what that really means is going into your unconscious and bringing what was unconscious to the conscious, which is a healing process. So most people have all their fears, have all their traumas, and have all their baggage inside of the abyss, inside of their own abyss. And they're so afraid to go there. They're so afraid to step into that chaos and to step into that darkness. And because of that, they never get the power from chaos. They never get the power from the abyss. And just so you understand chaos, chaos is the yin and the yang. Primarily, it's the yin. The yin is the chaos within our universe. The yang is the order. It's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. And on the yin-yang symbol, you see that little dot inside of the yin, which is a white dot, and you see a little black dot inside of the yang. And the reason why that's there is because there's a hidden order within chaos. And there's a hidden chaos within order. All things in chaos come to an order eventually. All things in order come to a chaos eventually, come to a destruction eventually. This is the ongoing cycle of our universe. So once again, the abyss in our consciousness is our unconscious. It's the unconscious mind. So when you go to cross the abyss, or when you go to experiment with the abyss, you are starting to go into that portion of the self where there are buried many things that you have not wanted to feel. Many traumas, many situations, many circumstances that have scared the living shit out of you, have shocked you, have caused you to be fight, flight, and then freeze. It's those situations that were buried in the abyss in your consciousness. And the way that you free that energy back up is by going into the abyss and feeling them, feeling those emotions that are behind the situations, that are behind those traumatic events. And when you feel them, you're now processing that chaos within your own unconscious mind. You're giving it much more freedom. You're no longer resisting your own chaos. Can you imagine most people live their entire lives resisting their own chaos? How much energy do you think that takes to do every single day? How much do you think that drains a person? It drains people. That's why so many people are chronically sick. So many people are chronically fatigued. So many people are just living a mediocre life, and they're accepting it for this is just how life is. They're resisting their own unconscious. They're resisting their own chaos. Chaos is power. So when you free up that stored energy and that stored trauma, those stored emotions within your own unconscious, now your unconscious has power to manifest in your daily life in alignment with your higher self, in alignment with your purpose. So in other words, you free up multitudes of power in your energy body that are all being governed by your higher self. So this is why, like, for example, when I go through certain types of situations in my life and certain types of transformations, the entire weather will change. My energy field is so powerful, so influential, it can change the entire weather around me. It can manifest rainbows, double rainbows. It can manifest tornadoes. It can manifest hurricanes. It can manifest all kinds of shit. Wildfires. It's because my unconscious mind, the abyss that I have in my consciousness, is being worked with and it's being freed. The more I'm opening up that abyss in my unconscious, the more that energy can freely flow outwards. So if there was a lot of destructive things that were built up in my unconscious, it's going to manifest externally, for example, like a tornado. It'll manifest in a hurricane somewhere maybe. It'll manifest in an earthquake, who knows? And simultaneously, when I'm at peace with my unconscious, when I've done a lot of processing and I've done a lot of feeling and healing, and I keep this as a continuous practice, I get beautiful weather. There's rainbows that appear, double rainbows, okay? There's blue skies, the ocean is calm, these types of things. Now, yeah, some of you might be listening and thinking like, oh, who are you to think that you control weather? Who are you to think, that you have this ability to manifest these things? Look, I'm not here to get you to believe me. That's outside the point. I could care less. I do what I do, and I will always do what I do. But some of you will actually understand what I'm saying, and you'll notice similar things take place in your own life experience too. This is who that message is for. If you're listening and you're doubting and you want to, argue with me, so be it. I'm not going to argue with you though, because you're not there. You're pathetic. You're not on that level. And that's okay. I'm not going to try to change you. You stay where you're at, but you're not going to get a full engaging from me, maybe a little engage, okay? So once again, these are some primary simple things you can do to allow your higher self to move through your body. Feel your emotions, get out of your own way with your mind. Know that your higher self is always active. It's always trying to move through you more effectively. The more you let go, the more you can be receptive, and the more you can feel, the more it can move through and you can observe your own superconscious manifest. And the more you practice this, the more you work with it, the more momentum it builds, the more in alignment you're getting with your higher self, the more it's possessing your body. The more you can start to see my higher self literally manifest through my physical body. As I'm making this video, okay, even as I said that, something came up, like I burped. That's a physical manifestation of an energy moving into my physical body, having to clear space out to further come in, okay? I'm gonna wrap it up there. If this was a video that offered you value, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell if you wanna get notified whenever I post, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because by subscribing, you're further linking into the content. So why would you not do that? Now, I also want to say, if it really impacted you, if you believe that I'm talking about things that most people do not understand and you don't hear anywhere else and you really appreciate this type of content, go in the comment section and let me know. I literally read all the comments. I don't always respond to all of them, but I do read them and I appreciate it. So go ahead and let me know in the comment section. Now, I want to say this. You have my full permission to copy and paste this link and send it out to anybody, family, friends, social media platforms, you name it. Send it out to people that you feel like will gain value from it. Go ahead and do that, okay? Now, I want to say this. The first link in my YouTube description, you can't miss it. This is where you can join the Patreon. On my Patreon, I have an entire vault of exclusive occult content, and none of it is on my public YouTube channel for many different reasons. At this point, it's like a secondary YouTube channel except everything's a little bit more advanced and more personal than what you're getting right here. Tier number 2 is a magic training course. Tier number 3 is the Universe.B Vampire Service, which is a service that I perform on the 29th of every single month. That is the most popular tier of my Patreon. That alone speaks for itself. Tier number 4 gives you access to all the other tiers, but you also get additional content, psychic predictions on a monthly basis. If you want to read more about these different tiers, check it out. First link in the YouTube description is where you can join the Patreon. Now in the second link, you can book a one-on-one call with me. This is like my new favorite service to do. Okay, so if you've been studying my content, if you've been studying from the occult in general, and you want to speak to a professional like myself who could very much so help you navigate what it is that you're going through, then definitely consider booking a one-on-one. Now, if you're taking your practice to an even deeper degree and you're getting yourself into any form of initiation, definitely look into the mentorship options. I have a 6-week mentorship and I have a 3-month mentorship. All of this is within that second link below. Now, also in that same second link, you have an option to book a tarot card reading from me, a very unique one that I promise you've never received before. I've done well over 1,500 readings at this point. I get tons of valuable feedback. If it's something you want to take advantage of, second link below for all those different services. Now, as you move into the third link in the YouTube description, this is where you can join and become a YouTube member, where you gain a multitude of different benefits, but most importantly, you're gaining access to the Psychic Warfare Emoji program. It's the most simple form of utilizing psychic warfare through the internet platform. I've got well over 2,000 posts where individuals have already used it, and there are even people right now in this moment taking advantage of it. So if you want to use it for yourself, you can do so. You click that third link below, hit join at the top, and then you get access. All right? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly where I'm going to be wrapping this up. I appreciate all of you very, very, very much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.